on, everybody? Huvi 186 back again with another live stream. This is a new series I'm doing. Let me see if I can turn the volume down on this real quick. Hold on, give me one moment. I guess I gotta go to the. I guess I gotta go to the main menu.
Hey, how's it going, Lou? And let's begin.
Hold on a second. Let me just give me one moment.
Ready, go. Let's party, Lou.
Let me go to title selection real quick. Let me turn down the volume a little bit. Which sucks because the music in this game is great. So you know, one. Alright, see it here. Real about special. How's everybody doing? Is it today? Huvi 186 back in with another live stream, like I said. You know, I'm just here to talk about a little bit of just a little bit of UFC 226. I'm not gonna go over the whole event because you know the game, the thing's been out. The thing's been you know, it's been a couple weeks, so it doesn't really. It's been a couple days, so like you guys don't really care about that. So
Your first opponent is bad.
so you know, I'm playing some Fatal Fury in the meantime. So anyway, this is just me talking about pretty much the main event. Daniel Cormier versus Stipe Miocic. You know, after you know, it was the fight that happened after the it was the last fight that happened after what you call it, Derek Lewis and Francis Ngannou. You know, it was a oh man, that fight sucked. You know, and you know, I was telling my friends, yo, this is gonna be this is gonna be like the fight of the night. You know, I thought both dudes were gonna throw hands, and I don't put the blame completely on Lewis. Apparently he had a back injury, but Ngannou didn't do jack shit. So that kind of, you know, that kind of sucked. But you know, he didn't really do anything. But you know, after that garbage ass semi you know, co-main event, the main event delivered. You know, Daniel won by KO by a nasty right hook coming off a clinch. You know, early in the first round. And there's a couple of discussions I wanted to have involving that. So this won't take like it won't be long. You know, just my thoughts on it. Now, first thing first, you know, like in my opinion, is Daniel Cormier among the greatest fighters of all time? Absolutely. You can't really. It's very hard to argue against it because at the end of the day, you know, the only dudes he's ever lost to was John Jones. That's it. Like, and John Jones, you know, is in my opinion is the greatest mixed martial artist I've ever seen. You know, drug test failures be damned. He is the best that I've ever seen, and that's really the only dude he's lost to. So as far as I'm concerned, that, in my opinion, that put Daniel Cormier in the same discussion. And you know, oh man, storming out, just lightning strike storming outside right now. Kind of expected that, but hopefully this thing won't knock out. Hopefully this thing won't knock out the stream. But yeah, man, like I consider him to be the best of all time, one of the best of all time. You know, and I don't, you know, I think there really is nothing to it really isn't an argument now. Like, to be honest with you, it's not. It really isn't an argument. It's just because to me, like, you know, like look at his resume. Like you look at what he's done at heavyweight. If you look back at Strike Force,
Go.
the dudes he beat, I believe he was the last Strike Force heavyweight champion.
Round
And you
one.
know, and then you look at what he did at light heavyweight, and he said something that I thought was very true. You know, people keep talking about, you know, the stuff that he about, you know, having to adjust back to heavyweight, and he said, and I thought that he was right on about this, is that he's fought more, like, I don't want to say better competition. I mean, you know, fuck it, I'll say better competition at light heavyweight than he did at heavyweight when you think about it. So look at the guys who he's beaten at light heavyweight, right? He beat Alexander Gustafsson. He beat Rampage twice. You know, when Rampage was knocking everybody out. He beat Anderson Silva. Granted, you know, Anderson Silva was, he beat Anderson Silva at the downside of his career, but he did beat him at on short notice. You know what I mean? Like, who else he's beaten? He beat Ozdemir. I mean, he's beaten everybody he had to beat. I believe he fought Teixeira and Glover Teixeira, and I think he beat Glover Teixeira. You know what I mean? But like, Cormier's beaten guys, and he also said that he's beaten guys who has presented more of a skill discrepancy at light heavyweight than he did at heavyweight. You know what I mean? So you just look at his resume, man. That dude, he's one of the best of all time. Like, it's hard to argue, and he's doing most of this like after 30.
Next battle.
Like after 30, that's very impressive. So as far as I'm concerned, he is one of the best of all time. And I'll also say this: he's also, in my opinion, the most legitimate two-division champion that the company has ever had by a country mile. You know, the first one was obviously Conor McGregor, but let's be frank about this. Again, I'm not going to discredit Conor's resume and Conor's the stuff that he's done. You know, he's beaten a lot of great fighters. He's done a lot of great things for the sport, obviously. But let's be frank, he only got the lightweight title shot because of his popularity. That's it. He didn't after he beat Aldo. Who did he defend the belt against? Nobody. He won the belt, and then all of a sudden he gets another shot at the lightweight belt. And you know, obviously he did beat Eddie Alvarez, which is a great accomplishment. I saw the fight. You know what I mean? But like I said, he never defended the bantamweight belt, and automatically got a shot at the lightweight belt. And people can say, well, what about, you know, Daniel never technically won the title because because the whole John Jones thing. And my thing is this: it's not Cormier's fault that John Jones is a fuck up. It's like this point blank. That's not Cormier's fault. You know, and at the end of the day, he redeems himself with the fights in the lightweight division, in my opinion, by defending the belt while John Jones couldn't. And to me, he was a worthwhile light heavyweight champion, and moved up and beat, I mean, arguably one of the great heavyweights of all time, in Stipe Miocic. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, like, in my opinion, you know, Daniel Cormier, to me, is among the greatest champions of all time. And, you know, like, to me, he's the most legit two-division champion the company's ever had, like, by a country mile. Far more than Conor. So, you know, that's just my opinion on that. What do I think is next for Cormier? What do I think is next for Cormier? Me personally, I really don't see the need for him to go back to the light heavyweight, in my opinion. You know, I know there's some people clamoring for his rematch against Gustafsson. Me personally, he kicked his ass. So like, there's no point, in my opinion, in him going back to fight him. And I know Gustafsson's next fight is against Volkan Ozdemir. Daniel destroyed him easily in that fight too. So in my opinion, the last two fights he has left is at heavyweight. And you know, obviously the whole Brock Lesnar thing happened. I'll discuss Brock Lesnar in a second. But you also have you know, the John Jones the trilogy fight, and people are like, well, he's already lost to John Jones twice. That's true, but he lost to John Jones at light heavyweight. I would love to see how the fight goes at heavyweight, in my opinion. You know, I would love to see how the fight goes at heavyweight. Mainly because, you know, Cormier doesn't have to worry about losing weight. Doesn't have to worry about cutting weight at heavyweight. Like, he can just, you know, pretty much just train for John Jones. And to me, like, you know, like, to me, I think it is more, I think the John Jones fight is the most intriguing fight, because me personally, I don't think Brock Lesnar stands a chance against Cormier. You know, this is my opinion. I'll discuss that a little bit later. But obviously, the fight that I think Cormier wants the most is John Jones, right? And I think that's the fight that I want to see the most, is the one against John Jones, because I want to see the dynamic of how both men. Well, we already technically seen how Cormier deals with being in the heavyweight division, but I would like to see how John Jones deals with being in the heavyweight division. You know what I mean? Because I think John Jones, for a long time, I always thought that he was a you know, I always thought that he could have been a heavyweight. You know what I mean? I think he would have been fairly successful as a heavyweight. You know, I think he can be that. So I, you know, yeah. Now I would like to see. I would like to see that fight happen. Now, the Brock Lesnar thing, right? Now, before the main event, he walked out. Once I saw him walk out with Dana and stuff like that, you know, I think he went up to the audience, to the announcers, you know, Joe Rogan, Dominic Cruz, and John Anik. It was pretty clear what was gonna happen. Like, it was pretty clear that UFC was going to set up. They were going to set up Brock Lesnar to be the #1 contender. And, you know, I know a lot of MMA people are not happy about this, and I can understand, because, you know, at the end of the day, you know, like, we all know why this is happening. You know what I mean? We all know why this is happening, because, you know, he's a face. He's you know, he's Brock Lesnar, and that dude garners attention, regardless of whether you like him or not. Regardless of, you know, how you feel about him, he garners attention, and that's why he's getting the title shot. So you know, like, so it was pretty clear what was gonna happen. And then once Cormier beat Miocic, he called out Brock Lesnar. The second time. So it's only a year ago. You know, you know, John Jones, after beating Cormier, called out Brock Lesnar, and then you know, soon we learned that both dudes popped for performance-enhancing drugs and shit like that. Yeah, so he called out Brock Lesnar. You know, they get into a shoving match or whatever, which I thought was completely fake. Because from what I can remember, both men are cool with each other. There's no real animosity between the two of them. So it was just pretty much like they both hammed it up. You know, we both hammed it up just for publicity and shit like that, which is fine. I don't have a huge problem with it. Being a wrestling fan, I'm used to it, so it's not a big deal. But to me, like, the reason why I don't think Brock Lesnar stands a chance in this fight has nothing to do with, like, his fighting ability. Because if you remember, he won his last fight. Now, granted, you know, he did get popped for PEDs afterwards, but he did win his last fight against Mark Hunt, who you know, is a capable fighter, a fantastic submission artist, and Brock Lesnar pretty much grounded and pounded him. So, like, it had nothing to do with the ability of Brock Lesnar. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with that. The reason why I think he doesn't stand a chance is because he's fighting someone who is as well-rounded as the dude who initially exposed Brock Lesnar was Cain Velasquez. You know what I mean? Daniel Cormier, to me, is as good as is probably a better wrestler than Brock Lesnar. You know, he's probably not as physically. He doesn't look as physically strong as Brock Lesnar, but you know, like I said, people always talk about how when Daniel's on top of you, man, they feel like the weight of the world is on there. You know what I mean? Like you know, and you know, obviously people say the same thing about Brock Lesnar, but you know, I think it's a different level with Cormier. Plus, when it comes to striking, I think Cormier is clearly the better striker. Plus, he has the wrestling pedigree, and to me, I feel like you're dealing with the same thing that he dealt with Velasquez, and Velasquez kicked his ass. You know what I mean? Like, Velasquez pretty much kicked his ass, had his way with him, and I feel like the same thing's gonna happen with Cormier. Cormier gonna destroy him. Cormier is going to kick his ass. That's pretty much it. That's how I look at it.
Next battle.
But you know, to me, the reason why I think this is a thing is because, like I said, he's a star. There's no denying that. There's the reason why WWE pays him all the money to not show up on Raw. You know what I mean? Be champion for a year and not show up on Raw. You know what I mean? Because when he comes out, like there's a different energy, there's a different vibe that he brings to that product. You know what I mean? And the same thing goes with mixed martial arts. You know what I mean? Like he's a star. There's no denying that. And you know, people want to see him fight. Even if you know a lot of people can admit that, you know, listen, he's not a top contender. You know, he's not technically the top contender at heavyweight. You know, he doesn't deserve the title shot. But at the end of the day, UFC is in the process of making money. Is in the business of making money, and in the business of making big fights. I mean, that's what they want to do. And there's nothing. I mean, there's really nothing that any of the MMA purists can do about it. You know what I mean? You can just complain and not watch, and you know, or you just watch. And most people are going to watch. You know what I mean? Like now, according to what they were saying, I mean, Brock Lesnar has to go back into the USADA protocol, so that's gonna take, I don't know, 6 months. So if there is a fight, and you know, I think Daniel kind of hedged on this. If there is a fight, it's probably gonna happen in January, you know, maybe March or what have you. You know, it's one of those.
Final round.
Yeah, so it's not gonna happen this year. It's not gonna happen at Madison Square Garden. It's probably gonna happen in January. Anywhere from January onwards, where the fight could take place. And then but by that time, you know, John Jones could be, you know, free from his suspension or whatever the hell is going on with him. You know, but you know, like at the end of the day, like we don't know what's gonna happen. But I know damn well I'm gonna watch. You know what I mean? Like I ain't gonna lie. And this is coming from someone who's not the biggest fan of Brock Lesnar, and it's someone who understands that his you know title, that his you know number one contendership is bullshit. Like I can acknowledge all those things and still watch the fight and be like, yeah, I'm gonna watch the fight because you know, like it's an interesting fight. It's gonna draw eyeballs. You know, it's just, and it's an intriguing fight. I'm not saying that I'm not saying that he won't, like, I'm not saying that Brock Lesnar doesn't stand a chance per se. But at the end of the day, I don't think he can beat Daniel Cormier. You know, to me, I don't think Brock Lesnar can beat the top 2 or 3 heavyweights in the division. I don't see it because I don't think he's had the training, the proper training. Because I mean, granted, he hasn't been in WWE TV for a while, but you know, you have that you know, the WWE schedule. You know, wrestling in a professional wrestling ring is not easy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he's had the proper training. And you're going against dudes who live and breathe mixed martial arts. And I don't think Brock Lesnar has done that. Not because, you know, he doesn't want to, it's because he can't. He really can't. He to be honest with you, he really can't. Like, so I don't know, man. Like, you know, look. At the end of the day, whenever this fight happens, if it happens, I'm gonna watch. But to me, the money fight, in my opinion, is the third fight with John Jones. Because at the end of the day, I would like to see how the fight goes in the at heavyweight. So we'll see what happens. But that's pretty much it for the video. Let me see if I can beat this dude real quick before I leave. If not, then I'll just end it because I do have some place to go anyway. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Like you know, let me know what you guys think. I'll share this out and give me what your opinion is on the situation. Let's see. Is there anything else I want to talk about? You know, obviously, you know, the other fight that I like, the you know, Anthony Pettis versus Michael Chiesa. I'm a big fan of Anthony Pettis. But you know, obviously as a fan, I've been incredibly disappointed by his you know, recent performances, and to see him come back and get that triangle. No, it wasn't triangle. He set up a triangle choke, but ended up getting the armbar. But to see him get that victory was was great. You know what I mean? It was awesome. You know what I mean? Because you know, I still believe that if he puts everything together, he's still a contender at light heavyweight, in my opinion. I think that yeah, it was light heavyweight. No, not light. Lightweight. Excuse me. I think that's where his I think that's his fighting class. And I still think that I still think he's good enough to be a champion. Like I think he's definitely good enough to be a contender. You know what I mean? I think he can be that. So you know, so I'm very happy that he won. So you know, that's pretty much it. There's a couple other things that happened at 226. But you know, like I said, you know, like most of that stuff's been talked about already. There really hasn't been any other breaking news to come out of it. So you know, like ultimately, you know, like you know, I thought the show was great. You know, what I mean, with a few people. You know, like I said, you know, I was hyping everybody up at the table. Regarding Derek Lewis and Francis Ngannou, and you know, like I said, I don't put the blame on Derek. You know, granted, I think he had a back injury, like I said earlier, so he could only really throw kicks, and Ngannou didn't do much of anything, and you know, you had to deal with that. So yeah, so I mean, if Mike beats me here, then I'm probably gonna end it. Yeah, so I'm just gonna end it here. Probably gonna be I actually went further than I thought it would, because I remember when I played this back on the PS2, you know, I had a huge problem with Billy Kane. Yeah, Billy always kicked my ass when I got to that fourth fight, but like I said, I just beat him now. But you know, anyways, this is Huvi 186. I'm out. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.
Time. Trust.